Hey, good morning. Today we're going to start our unit on linear lines. And so we're going to do that probably for a good 3 weeks here, making sure that we know how to write equations for linear lines and graph linear lines, and then we're going to go into systems of linear lines where there are two lines. So number one, you need to make sure you have a ruler real soon because we're going to start drawing lines on a graph. But one of the biggest and most important concepts on linear lines is this thing called slope. Now you should have been doing slope for a couple of years now, so I'm hoping today is kind of like a hone in. Let's make sure we're doing it right, and it'll go pretty quick, I hope. Okay? Alright, so basically, what is slope? It's a constant rate of change between 2 points on a line. In order for it to be the same, it'll be a linear line, our rate of change, okay? And so basically another important part is it's called a ratio. If you remember, ratios are usually written with a numerator on the top and a denominator down here, kind of written as a fraction. Okay, so it's a ratio of the rise. Now this is very important. It's always the rise over the run. Now sometimes kids get messed up with that a little bit. Now when I'm looking at a graph, rise is up and down, and it's also the y-axis. Okay, and it's always the top part of the fraction. Okay, I'll put a blue one down here. So the rise always goes in the numerator, whatever that number is, and I'm looking on the y-axis to get from one dot to the next. I'm going up and down if they give me a graph, okay? Now the run is left and right. It's always on the denominator of the fraction. So I'm going to turn it back to green here like it is over here. And now blue down here on the bottom, because the run is the bottom part of the fraction. And run means the x-axis. How far do I move left and right on the x-axis? Okay? So sometimes this is where kids kind of get a little bit crazy. They put all x's on the top because x comes in the alphabet first before y, and so they're kind of used to that. It's very important that we put the y's on the top, x's on the bottom. Okay? And it's known as slope. And usually instead of writing the word slope, we use the letter M. So now in math, when we have to write equations, we don't really use the letter M kind of as a letter to signify something like, I don't know, M&Ms. Like if we were doing a word problem with candies, we don't want to kind of put M in for the variable. Okay? We try to stay away from that now because M now means slope. Alright, somewhere along the line you should have said, hey, you know, as I read my graph from left to right and my line's going up, we call this a positive slope. And as I read my graph from left to right, like a book, and I see my line is going down, we call this a negative slope. Now these two are the weird ones, okay? If my line is a horizontal line, then we have this thing that's called the slope of 0. And we'll talk about that more as we look at graphs here. You just got to kind of memorize these two, and I'll show you a way on the calculator that if you haven't done it for a while and you can't remember, and a lot of times that happens, I'll show you on the calculator how you can determine this today. Alright, and then one that's going straight up and down, we call this one undefined. Not 0, it's undefined is an answer. Okay. Alright, so the last two are kind of just some that you have to memorize. So, when we're doing slope, this is the important part. It's always the rise over the run. So it's the vertical change going up and down. And we always do that. And then the horizontal change on the bottom. And so you kind of get into this rhythm here of looking for a coordinate. First of all, we're going to write M. And we're going to find two dots on my graph that are nice whole number dots, like they already put them for us here today. That is a definite coordinate. Now I want to pick something like this that's a fraction, so I just scan up my graph until I find another one, and they already marked it for us up here. So they're trying to get us to find 2 dots on this line that would be good to find my slope. And so now, first of all, in my head, I'm thinking in my head that this is a positive slope, so when I'm all done, my answer should be a positive. So I'm going to put think up here. When I'm all done, my ratio here, or my fraction, should be a positive answer, and it's a very good thing to get into the habit of making a note of, okay? And so to get from this dot to this one, I want to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I went up 7. It's a positive 7. And I went over to the right 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I'm going to the right, it's a positive. Now we should always look to see if our fraction can reduce, because slope always gets reduced. You can't reduce 7 4, since reduce means is there a number that goes into both 7 and 4 evenly. Okay? As I look at this one, I see this is a negative slope. So you don't need to write this all the time, but in my head I'm thinking this, it's a negative slope. So when I come over here to my slope, I better have a negative fraction here. So now if you're going to go from this one down to this dot, I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, so that's down 3. And I'm right here right now, and to get to that dot I need to go to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now I can reduce that. 3 goes into both of those, so negative 1/3. I should have wrote it a little bit more. So we want to write our final answer always without all this work up here. When I'm done reducing, I want to neatly and clearly write my fraction called negative 1/3. Now another thing about this is, on this one we went down 1 and over 3, but what if I went this way? What if I said I want to go from this dot to this dot? So to get from this dot, I want to go up 1, 2, 3. So I went up a positive 3, but now look, I'm going to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I went to the left 9, so my negative's on the bottom here. And that still will reduce down to a negative 1/3. So now that you're older, when we write the slope and we write our final answer, we just say the negative sign's out front and 1/3. Okay, and that way when I go to graph, I can decide, do I want the negative to be on the top or the bottom to get it on my graph paper? Okay, so this is the best way now to write our answer if it's a negative. Okay, these still will be okay, just as a nicer transition when we go to graphing and writing equations that we just put it out front. Okay, now this is the one I was going to show you on your calculator. To get from this dot right here to this one, y's are on top, so to go up or down to get that to that, I don't go up or down at all. It's right there across from it, so I don't go up or down to get to the second dot. It just is straight across to the right. And so I go to the right 1. Now, pick up your calculator because this is super important. Do 0 divided by 1 on your calculator. And your calculator will not lie. 0 divided by 1 is 0. Okay? And that's the answer. Slope is 0. Now, that's a horizontal line. Now, watch this one, because this is the one that sometimes kids really struggle with. To get from this dot to this one, I want to go up 1, 2, 3. So I went up 3, and I don't go left or right. Now grab your calculator and put 3 divided by 0. And I get divide by 0 error. Sometimes you'll see syntax error, domain error, something like that. What that really means is you can't divide 3 by 0. So we just write undefined. That is the name of that slope there. So a lot of times kids will say 3 divided by 0 is 0. No, it's not. 0 divided by 1 is 0. Okay, so again, these two, I use my calculator sometimes and do my ratio, and then I'll put it in my calculator. If I get that syntax error, that means it's undefined. Our hope is that when you look at a vertical line, automatically you know it's undefined without even doing the math. Whenever you see a horizontal line, its a slope of 0 without even doing any math. Okay, it's kind of our hope. All right, let's see, they gave us 2 dots here. They sure did, right there and right there. So let's do it. m equals, let's go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I went up 5 over, so right here is where I'm at right now. 1, 2, 3. Can't reduce 5/3, so I'll just put my box around it. Positive slope, positive answer. M equals 1, 2. I went up 2 and I went over 2. Now 2 goes into both of these, and so this has a slope of 1. Now you can write it this way, slope of 1, or you could write it this way, m equals 1 over 1. Whoops, why did I write a 2 there? 1 over 1. And if I write it as a slope of 1 over 1, like when I'm writing an equation, well then I'll just go up 1 over 1. Okay, but if there's just a 1 here, well then we just assume there's a 1 under it. If my slope was just a 2, well when I go to graph it, I'm just going to put a 1 in it. That means I want to go up 2 over 1. Okay, we just assume there's a 1 underneath it if I don't see a denominator. Alright, let's give these guys a shot. Pause your video. They're marking the dots for us that we can find, but normally these dots aren't on here, and so you just scan, find a dot, and then you'll scan down your line and find another good whole number coordinate. Alright, do those, pause your video, and then come on back and let's see how you did. Alright, let's see how you did here. Uh-oh. I better hurry up here. Sorry, you can just sit back and watch here. I'm not sure why I don't have this one already here on here. Alright, I'll speed it up here. Sorry about that. You just sit back and relax for a little bit or fast forward your video. But if you want to watch, here we go. I want to say it's a negative slope, so my answer here better be negative. I hope yours is negative. I'm getting down 1, 2, 3 over 1. That's a positive slope. M equals 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 4/5. That's that horizontal line. Now if you wanted to do it by the ratio, you can make your own dots anywhere. I didn't go up, and I went over 1, 2, 3. And on my calculator, if I did 0 divided by 3, I get m equals 0. Okay? Work on knowing that that's what that is. Alright. You know what? I just noticed. If you got all these answers, I got the next one's try it, so I must have had you do a whole bunch of you try it's there. That was kind of strange there. Something's wrong. Alright, anyhow, I'll continue on here. I'll fix that for my class today. I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1, 2. But that can be reduced. 2 goes into both of them, 2 over 1. So I hope you reduced. Well, we'll just write our answer nice and clean here, okay? M equals, that's a positive slope. I go up 1 over 3. This is that guy, it's an undefined. You can pick any 2 dots you want, anywhere you want. To get from this dot to this one, I go up 1, 2, 3. And I don't go left or right to get to that second dot. And so if I, again, put that in my calculator, 3 divided by 0, m is, whoops, it's not a 0. This is the one that's undefined. Undefined. Okay? Alright. I'm not going to show you the answers. Go do numbers, what do we got here? 12? We're going to go do 13, 14, 15, and 16. And I got the answers on the next page, so pause your video. Alright. Alright, well let's see how you did. I'll fix that. This morning I should have had 2 slides there. Alright, so do those guys and check your answer. 2 of them you could reduce. Okay. Sometimes I'll make sure before I turn in a paper, I'll check my signs, like that's a positive slope, yep, I have a positive answer. Positive slope, positive answer. But like this one, that's a negative slope, I better have a negative answer. Here's a negative slope, better have a negative answer. For some reason, the negative slopes are the ones that kids miss the most. Just because they just say, I went 5 and over 1. And they forget to put the negative sign that they went down 5 over 1. Or if you did it the other way, from this dot to this one, whoops, that's not a very straight line. If I was doing it the other way and I said, you know what, I went from this dot to this one, so then I went up 5, but I went to the left one, so the negative 1 would be right there. So then again, I would write my final answer with a negative sign out front to make it nice and clean. Okay? All right, that should be a piece of cake. You should be saying, I can't believe we're doing this. We've done this for a couple years now. Now, this is the part, this is a formula that you have to memorize, the slope formula. And so this was read as x sub 1. So the only 1 means this is the first coordinate. That's the x part of the first coordinate, that's the y part of the first coordinate. Then this 2 here means the second coordinate, the x part of the second coordinate, the y part of the second coordinate. And then we can use this formula that says m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. It's always the y's on the top, x is on the bottom. Now, if you still need to do this, you're more than welcome to, but pretty soon I'm hoping we do slope so much that we have a pattern. So sometimes kids still need this. This is my first coordinate, so that's my x1. This is my y1, first coordinate. This is my x part of the second one, and this is my y part of the second one. So now I can go use this formula. There's my y sub 2, so I want to say m equals this number, 3. There's a minus in the formula, 1. Over, we come back over to this number. This is my x sub 2, 4, minus that's in the formula, 1. And now we just do that math. 3 take away 1 is 2. 4 take away 1 is 3. And I write my slope, y equals 2/3. Okay? Alright, so I'm hoping that you're pretty good at this. M equals, this is my, I want to do it one more time. This is my x1, y1, x2, y2, second coordinate. That's my x part, that's my y part. X part, y part. Y sub 2 is a minus 2. There's a minus in my formula, and my y sub 1 is a 4. Over, come back over to x over here, my second one, 10. Now this is where it gets interesting. There's a minus in my formula right there, but this is a minus 2. So you got to be sure to put both minuses, the one that's in the formula and the one that's in the actual number. And then you were taught in junior high, whenever I have a minus minus, that's a plus. You can hardly see it, but that's a 2. So now I have a minus 2 minus 4, which I know is a minus 6, and 10 plus 2 is 12. Can you reduce it? I sure can. 2 goes into both of these. Actually, 6 goes into both of these is the biggest number. So I want to put 6 goes into 6 one time, but I want to leave my negative sign, and 6 goes into 12 2 times. So my my slope is a negative 1/2. Again, you can put the negative sign just out in front or on the top or the bottom. It doesn't matter. But when I go to graph that guy, my line better be going down as I graph it. And again, I want to remind you, you need a ruler. Tomorrow we're going to start graphing these guys. Pretty sure it's tomorrow. All right. Now, I'm going to do this without putting that x1 and x2 and y2. I'm hoping that you start this pattern here. They say this number, take away that number. Minus 5, minus 5. Oh, this one's going to be a little interesting. And then I come back over to this one, because if I started with this one first, then I have to come back to this one and put this one first down here. So I have a minus 8, minus 4, minus minus 4, because there's a minus in the formula, and a minus is 4 right there. Again, I'm going to circle that minus minus, because that becomes a plus. Negative 5 and a minus 5 is a minus 10, not 0. Negatives, and I got some more negatives. I have a minus 8 plus 4, which is a minus 4. Now, this is where we have a negative divided by a negative. And by now we should know a negative divided by a negative is a positive. I'm just going to reduce this fraction now. I know 2 goes into both of these. 2 goes into 10 5 times, and 2 goes into 4 2 times. I still look at my answer in case sometimes I don't use the biggest number. There's nothing more you can do there. This is the only time, I think, is when we're doing slopes that we're just going to leave this as what we call an improper fraction. Improper means the top number is bigger than the denominator. And so that really should be like 2 and 2.5. if I was to reduce that and make it into a mixed number, but we're going to leave it as a fraction because eventually we're going to go graph this guy. We're going to go up 5 over 2 when we have a graph paper. Now I'm going to show you something else here while I'm here because sometimes kids freak out about this. Where can I do it over here? I want to do it up here. I want to put these two coordinates, and I'm going to put the -8 first. And so when you're looking at two coordinates, it doesn't matter which one you put first. Sometimes kids freak out about that because they think they're going to get the order out of order. Okay, I'll show you what I mean here. Let me record this coordinate real quick. Okay, so now when I have two coordinates on a graph and they said find the slope, or they give me two coordinates, it doesn't matter which one goes first. I just did it here because it's already written for me and I don't want to have to rewrite it. But watch this. If I do the same slope formula, I have 5 minus 5, because there's a minus there and there's a minus in the formula, over -4 minus 8. That becomes a plus, so 5 plus 5 is 10. That becomes a plus. -4 plus 8 is a -4. Oh, I'm not getting the same answer here. Did I copy the problem right? We should have the same answer here. Alright, let me see. 5 minus 5 is a plus. -4 minus 8. Something. Oh no, because -4 plus 8 is a +4. Sorry, I was thinking that was a negative in my head. And we just reduce it. 2 goes into both of those. 2 goes into 10 5 times, and 2 goes into 4 2 times. I got the same answer. M equals 5 halves. And so when we have coordinates on a plane, or we're looking at a graph and it says find the slope, and we pick two coordinates, it doesn't matter the order that you put them in. Okay? Alright, that comes tomorrow. I just wanted to point that out. Let's continue this. I hope you just say, hey, it's this number, take away this one. Come back to the original one. It's a -2 minus 10, because the minus in the formula. I got 4. -2 minus 10 is a -12. I know 4 goes into both of these. And m equals -1/3 is my final answer. Okay? Again, I know some teachers just let you do all this work here, and if somebody's looking for the slope, well, they have to look way over here. Finalize your answer for me. Okay? It's a good habit. This one's going to be the crazy one. 9 minus 9 over 3 minus 5. 9 minus 9 is 0, and 3 minus 5 is a -2. Now this is that one that's a weird one. Is 0 divided by -2 0, or is it undefined? Well, just grab your calculator and say 0 divided by -2. And I'm getting that divide by error. So this one's called undefined. Okay? So that one's the tricky one when we're just looking at the math there, okay? Alright. I need to turn my lights on. Give me a minute here. Oh, you know what? I just got back here. I'm looking at that. That's not undefined. 0 divided by, that's the one that's 0 there. When I go back here, you're probably yelling at me. Sorry, my lights went off there and my calculator went blink, and for some reason the screen said undefined from the last problem. So, I'm going to try it one more time. 0 divided by -2. Yeah, I'm getting 0 there, so that's an m equals 0. Sorry about that. My lights went off, my calculator wasn't working right. It got in the same answer from my last one. I should have known that, though. Alright, let's continue on. 5 minus 8 over -7. Minus it's in the formula, and another -7. I like to circle these guys and put a plus. 5 minus 8 is a -3. Now, some kids are still needing a calculator because they're not confident in their math here. By 9th grade, soon to be 10th grade, you should be doing this in your head here. Okay, without the calculator, you got more negatives than positives, so work on that. And then if my numbers are different, I subtract the 2 to find out how many more. Okay. Now here I got a negative 7 plus 7, and that's the guy that's a 0. And so now if I put in negative 3 divided by 0, now I get that divided by error. So this guy's called undefined. Alright. I think I now have you do a couple here. Yeah. So pause your video, do those 6, and then I'm going to hand out the practice paper for these guys. Alright, but I have the answers on the next page. So pause the video, do those 6, and then come back and start your video again and see if you did alright. Alright, so let's see how you did there. Oh, I didn't do all 6 of them. Man, I am a mess today. I guess the you try it's over there. So I'm going to jump in here real quick, and I'm going to do these guys. You can pause your video and just sit back and watch. 3 minus 9 over 2 minus 1. Can reduce that. 3 goes into both of them. Now I can write this answer as m equals negative 2 over 1, or I can say m equals negative 2. Okay, either one of those answers is fine. And this is how fast I hope you can do slope, because this should be now something that we have done in the past and we're just honing in and refreshing our memory on. Okay, I got negative 1 over 1. Well, negative divided by positive is a negative, so you can leave your answer as a negative 1 over 1, or you can just say m equals negative 1, because we assume there's a 1 underneath it if I just see a whole number. Okay, and number 11, let's go do that guy real quick, and then we're done. Go do your practice. There's my minus minus. That becomes a plus, so negative 2 plus 9, 7. I got more negatives than positives, so in my head I know it's a negative 2. No number goes into negative, or 7 and negative 2, so that's my final answer. 7 has, but it's a negative. Alright, sorry about that. Fisher was on vacation here for a while. It took a couple extra days, so I'm trying to squeeze this video in before school starts today. Anyhow, you got just a couple problems there. They say find the slope. That's what m means. Find the slope of those lines. Right? Looks like they're giving you dots on it today, and then several with slope formulas. So you only have 15 problems. So knock that out. All right. Have a good day.